Welcome to this inner work process. I'm Lily Augustin, and I'm so honored that you are sharing this space with me today to do this process called Funeral for Your Past Self. Now we're going to go first through what you're going to need just so you can set up your space here, and then we're going to dive into what this process really is. Now, if you've been doing inner work processes with me in the past, this is going to be a continuation of that journey for you. So we're going to take that list of the lies that you revealed when we did revealing and exposing the lies process and the truths that we revealed. We're going to take both those lists today. We're going to fully reconcile them and step boldly into our greatness, into our fullest expression, and choose the beliefs that we have that are influencing and leading us within our life. So I invite you to go ahead and get everything you need. You're going to need a fireproof pot, or you could do this process outside. We're going to be burning your list of lies today. So you're going to need something you can burn it in, or you can do it safely outside if that is more in alignment for you. You're going to need a glass of water, both for making sure that you are doing the burning safely, and also we're going to use it as a cleansing process during this process. You're going to need your list of lies that we created and your list of truths that you're stepping into. You're going to need a journal and pen because we're going to also be doing another writing exercise during this. And you're going to be needing an item that represents your past self. So an item that represents this list of lies that we are now letting go of. For me, I chose a ballet slipper because the past version of myself that I'm letting go was a dancer, a gymnast, was moving all day and was taking in all these beliefs. So this could be something that's symbolic from your childhood or just symbolic to your past self. And we'll get more into that symbolism later on in this process. But I think that's everything you're going to need. You might want a glass of water just for drinking yourself as we go through this process, in case you need to take a nice drink of water as we go, a glass of tea. Flowers, if you enjoy flowers. I love having flowers on hand when I do inner work processes. It just feels really special. But if you don't like flowers, you don't need them. That's a complete optional element. And if you'd like a candle to light to hold sacred space today for yourself, and I invite you to turn off your phone, put it on vibrate, put it on mute, put it in a different room so that you can really sink into this symbolic process today. Okay, you can pause this video, go get everything you need, and then come back and we'll keep going. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and light my candle for us today too. So you can go ahead and light your candle. When we light a candle, especially when we do inner work, we're inviting, oh, I always take a moment to make sure my candle's not doing anything funny. Okay, it'll calm down in a second. When we light a candle while we're doing inner work processes, this can be symbolic of inviting that higher power into this process and into our life that we believe in. So whether this is God, source, the universe, our highest self, spirit, whatever higher power you resonate with, when you light your candle, I invite you to consciously invite that higher power into this space. And we're going to also be starting out this process with some breath works, with some meditation, and with a Kriya today in order to help create this space of love. Because as we go through this process of this funeral for our past self, we are also deeply honoring our past self, right? That version of ourselves brought us to where we are today. It taught us so much along our journey. So this is really going to be a sacred, love-filled space of honoring, but also letting go, knowing that we consciously have a choice over our beliefs, over our personality, and over our greatness and how we choose to step into it. Another beautiful aspect of this process can be to dress as if you are going to your funeral or a funeral. We are having a funeral for your past self. So I invite you, with whatever that looks like culturally for you, to dress in something special and something sacred as if you were going to a funeral yourself. Okay. Let's go ahead and get this space really sacred for our practice here. So I invite you to place your hands palms down on your knees and allow your eyes to close. And we're going to start by taking 3 deep cleansing breaths. So taking a nice deep breath into your belly, filling your belly, your ribs, your chest and your lungs, and taking a final sip in through your throat. Hold the air at the top just for a moment. And take a nice big HA breath out through your mouth, big audible breath. And feel all of your body relax. We'll do this again. Nice deep breath in through your belly, filling your ribs, filling your chest. And a big HA breath out through your mouth. Feel your sits bones sink a little deeper into the ground. Allow your forehead to relax. Allow your jaw to relax. And allow your shoulders to relax. Now, as we take this last deep breath, I invite you to make this breath the deepest that you've had or the deepest that you've breathed today. Fill your lungs with so much beautiful oxygen. Hold there, in at the top, hold, hold. Find the space between your breaths for a moment. And as you take a big audible breath out, I invite you to release anything that may have happened earlier in your day or earlier in this week, so you can come fully grounded into this moment and into this process. When you're ready, I invite you to come back to your natural pace of breathing and to consciously and intentionally start smoothing out your breath, making it deeper, smoother, and longer as you breathe. And with your eyes closed here, as you breathe in, I invite you to feel that smooth, deep breath washing from the crown of your head down your spine into your sits bones or your root. And as you breathe out, feel it wash back up your spine, out the crown of your head to form a beautiful crown of roses, golden roses upon your head. As you breathe in, feel the air rush down from your crown, down your spine to your root or your sits bones. And as you smoothly and deeply, consciously breathe out, tuning into your breath here, feel it rush back up. And this time, feel it rush out of the crown of your head to form this beautiful golden light dome around you. Breathing in and breathing out. Every time you inhale smoothly and deeply, feel that breath wash down your whole body, grounding you and anchoring you into the space here. And as you exhale, feel it coming back up through your spine to form this golden light of love around you. This dome that we're creating, that we're consciously and intentionally and symbolically creating around us, is this dome of love and sacredness, of purity, of innocence, of wholeness and completeness. We're creating this space to be one of safety, for us to fully feel, express, and release in. Because we are safe to let go of all of these beliefs we've been holding on to for years. You are safe in this space. And that's what we're consciously creating together here, is that safe space filled with love and honor and grace. Continuing to take these deep, smooth breaths. And as you do this, I invite you to visualize this golden dome expanding around you, to fill your whole room, to expand around all of the elements that you've gathered here today for this process, and to hold this beautiful dome of light, of safety, of love, and security around you. This dome of light where you can fully feel and express in this process. Breathing in and breathing out. When you're ready, you can blink your eyes back open, maybe welcoming some motion into your fingers and into your toes. And we're going to do one more Kriya before we dive into this process today. I invite you to place your hands together with your thumbs pressed against each other, and you're going to press your thumbs against your sternum, right at your heart center. Pressing those thumbs right against your sternum. And here, we're going to stay here for 2 minutes. Now, I invite you to keep a constant pressure of your thumbs against your chest going throughout these 2 minutes. And you may notice your hands wanting to release or fall away, but keep intentionally coming back to pressing your thumbs into your chest. Now, we don't want to bruise our chest, right? Just having that little bit of tension and pressure there. And I invite you to roll your shoulders down your back so that you open your heart center here. We're just going to welcome and open our heart and welcome so much love into the space. So I'm going to get our timer ready. So we're going to stay here for 2 minutes. You could do this with your eyes open or closed, but I invite you to meditate on your heart center. I invite you to meditate on love and what love feels like for you. Maybe that's thinking about some things in your life that you're grateful for and holding those right at your heart center. Maybe it's thinking of someone you love and holding that energy right here in your heart. Or maybe it's just meditating on the idea of love or divine love or how beautifully loved we are in this world. Whatever feels good for you, I invite you to meditate here for 2 minutes before we dive in. And while we're doing this, you are welcome to invite any energy of love into the space, whether you enjoy welcoming source energy while we're doing this inner work process of healing, or whether you have a guardian angel that you believe in or feel connected to, or any presence of love that you'd like to invite into the space to be here with you as we do this funeral. I invite you to do that here now as we do this Kriya. But if there's nothing that's coming to mind and you just want to meditate on love, that is beautiful and that is amazing. So finding what feels good for you here, I'm going to set our timer. We're going to be here for 2 minutes, 2 minutes of silence, of honor, of love. Taking those nice, deep, smooth breaths. For me today, during this Kriya, I'm going to focus my energy on my heart center. I'm going to think about and contemplate love. That energy of unconditional love. Maybe you tuck your chin back just slightly to find length in the back of your neck as you open your heart center. Letting your hands fall back down by your sides, welcoming them to fall onto your knees. I invite you to take a moment just to witness how that felt, how your energy may have shifted during that Kriya. Kriyas activate our energy channels in very specific ways. So just noticing any tingling or pulsing or any shifts in your energy, whether you feel calmer or there's more chaos, just notice and witness with no judgment. Taking one last deep breath in and deep breath out. Let's go ahead and dive into our process here today. So I invite you to take your list of lies and to place them right in front of you here. And we're going to look at these lies for a moment. And I invite you just to acknowledge that these are not who you are. That this list that you're looking at right now, these lies, these beliefs are just that. They are beliefs. They are not who you are. And I invite you just to acknowledge and make that separation as we go into this process. Make that separation that these beliefs, no matter how long you've held on to them, even if you've held on to them since you were 1 year old, it doesn't make them any more true. And just acknowledging that the reason we knew these were lies were that they caused us pain and suffering. They were heavy. They were limiting. That's how we knew they weren't true, right? We knew that we wouldn't say these to a 3-year-old child. So now we're choosing not to say them to ourselves. First off, how amazingly empowered are you just to see this, to have these in front of you and to make that separation. So I invite you to acknowledge here that these are just beliefs. They are not who you are. But our beliefs are the root of our consciousness, right? They're the root of not necessarily our consciousness, but they're the root of our theme of consciousness. So our beliefs influence how we perceive the world. They influence how we act, our personality traits, how we respond, what we think, right? Our beliefs are the root of the tree of our personality. And as we're saying this and as we're exploring this, we realize that if that's the case, that means that our personality is fluid, right? Our personality is never fixed because we have the conscious choice over what beliefs are the roots of our tree. So as you look at these, I invite you just to take a moment and to honor that these were your roots for a long time. And that these roots were probably grown from when you were a child. And that's okay. That even though they're heavy, even though they're not true, our ego mind, which is our accumulations of beliefs and root programs and perceptions of life, that sense of separate identity that we have here in our life, our personality would be considered our ego. When we think of our ego is just always trying its best, right? It's always trying its best. It's always trying to bring us closer to love. It's always trying to protect us. But our ego runs already on a flawed system, right? It's already running on a weak foundation because its foundation are these beliefs, are these roots. So as you look at these, I invite you just to honor that, wow, you know, my ego all of these years has just been trying to protect and love me, but the way that it does that is it returns back to these beliefs and runs off of those. So in this process, as we give ourselves this funeral for our past self, we can acknowledge and we can be grateful for all that these beliefs have taught us, but we can also see them for what they are, that they're not true. And they're not the most solid foundation for us to step into our fullest expression, right? Just because they're not true. So we can honor that our mind has just been trying to love us and do its best, but it's like building a building on sand instead of on rock, right? It's just not a great foundation. So we're going to consciously, how empowered is that? We're going to consciously choose our foundation today and welcome in anew of our truth. And we're going to honor all that our past personality has given us to get here today. So as you look at this list, I invite you just to take a moment here to look them over with that separation that they're not who you are, and take a nice deep breath in. And we're going to connect the dots to how these beliefs have influenced your personality traits and how you've taken action or responded in your life up until this point. Let's just make those connections, because at this moment, we're going to make this divide between our past personality, where these were its roots, and the personality that we are now stepping into consciously, where our new list of truths are our roots. So making this divide for a moment here is we're now going to look at your past self as a whole nother person, right? It was a whole nother personality. If your personality is built off of these root beliefs, then that was a whole different personality than what we're stepping into confidently and empoweredly now. So taking a moment to look at these beliefs, let's start connecting those dots. So I did this process for myself a few months ago, which means I don't have my list of lies, but I'm going to try to share what I remember out of that list to you today. So one of my lies that I had held on to since I was a child was that there was something wrong about me being innocent. I'd always been sensitive. I'd always had this kind of innocent nature. And I always was made to feel like that was a naive weakness, or that there was something wrong with me, or that made me naive in some way. And it was always very confusing to me because I felt like I was taking in wisdom um, and releasing things. But then the world around me kept telling me that my innocence was a weakness. So I held on to that belief that my innocence was a weakness for a long time. And when I started looking at connecting these dots of how that influenced my life, I noticed that I was very insecure about my sensitivity and how sensitive I was. And I got hurt a lot when other people would kind of shame me for that, or I'd never felt like I truly fit in with places where I was made to feel that way. And when we start looking at our this list of root lies that kind of have been the foundation of a lot of our personality, we can start connecting these dots of how they influenced our life. So sometimes there's two different directions we can go in when we have these root thoughts. We can either avoid that, we can have an avoidance strategy, or we can merge with and have kind of an excessive strategy. So an example for that would be, say we have a wound in judgment and we think that we're always wrong. One way would be to avoid ever taking action so that we don't do something that could prove that we're wrong. That would be avoidant, right? But we could also merge with that and become a perfectionist and try to do a lot, never wrong, and kind of merge with this excessive trait. Or another example of this would be if we have a root program around fear, we could either be terrified and avoid aspects of life, or we could merge with fear and start identifying with it and love horror movies and scary things and make that part of our identity and our personality. If we have a lie that someone told us that we weren't smart, we could either avoid doing things, which then inevitably would kind of prove that we weren't smart, like we would avoid studying or taking tests, or we would merge with that and we would identify that, yeah, I'm not smart. And then we would take action from there. So whatever coping strategy we have around these root program beliefs in our life, it always comes back to our ego's just trying its best to protect us, right? It's trying its best to love us and protect us. But whatever coping strategy we take on, it's always going to inevitably prove that belief back to us, because in our subconscious, and this is all subconscious, right? We have no idea this is happening. This is just part of being a human. And our subconscious tries to validate our root program beliefs. So it's going to do things to try to prove them right. That's why it can be, this process of inner work can be challenging but rewarding, because we're moving past that validation to validate a new belief. But with that said, we noticed whatever our coping strategy was, and however that influenced our life, it always kind of came back to trying to validate this root program belief over and over again. So as we do this funeral for our past self, we get to step into this expansion and our greatness, realizing that there was nothing wrong with our coping strategies, right? Our mind was coping the way it needed to. If we want to heal, we have to go back to the foundation, to these root program beliefs. And that's where we get to fully heal, because then we get to rewrite our truths and step empoweredly into our truths. And it's just making me so excited talking about this. So today we're going to honor that. So I invite you to look at this list again. Breathe it in, make that separation. It's not who you are. And now look at your past self and how this list has influenced your personality in the past. And we're going to honor that version of you today. We're going to honor that version, and we're going to let that version go. We're going to let these root program beliefs go. Now, we've already been through processes like exposing these lies and the return to sender process, we've already done a lot of reconciling. So today we're releasing any extra things, any extra energy that is still tied up in our subconscious that's ready to be fully released. So looking at this list, taking a moment to see this past version personality of yourselves to make those connections of how these root program beliefs influenced our life and our personality. I'll share another example for me was I had a root program belief that my home was a reflection of the respect I deserved. And I'm not the best home keeper. That is a skill I'm still learning. But what would happen was if someone would come to my home and criticize it in some way, I would get super triggered. And this also meant I never welcomed people into my home very often. I kind of had resistance to welcoming people into my home. And it wasn't until I realized that keeping a beautiful, nice home was a skill that I was learning, not a reflection of who I was. When I made that divide, I was able to welcome people into my home more openly, even if it wasn't clean, even if it was messy. But I could connect the dots and see that, wow, I didn't really like welcoming people into my home for this time, right? I got really triggered if someone made a comment around my home not being perfect. And that influenced my personality and how I acted. So we can make those dots and honor them because they were trying to protect us. They were trying to bring us love. It's just our ego was pulling from an already flawed foundation. So it was never able to really give us that. Now we're going to be able to give ourselves that. So honoring that, breathing that in, I know, we got this. We're going to let these go now. We're going to write a eulogy for our past self. Before we do our burning ceremony, I invite you to grab your notebook and pen, and we're going to write a eulogy of this past personality, of this past self. And maybe one way you can do this is if you had a nickname growing up as a child, or if you want to start identifying with a new name, this is optional. You don't need to do this, but you could write this eulogy for your past self with that old name of yours. So for me, my full name is Lilia, but growing up, everyone called me Lily. That was my name. Nobody really called me Lilia until I became an adult. And so when I wrote my eulogy for my past self, I wrote it for Lily. But you could do whatever you like. Maybe it's just writing it for your name now's past self. Or if you have a name shift that you want to make, maybe it's for your old self name. And when we do our proclamation at the end, you'll bring in your new name. Whatever feels right for you. But we're going to write our eulogy to ourselves here. So we made that separation, right? We realized that all of this is happening very innocently in our subconscious. And now we're able to see it. We're able to connect the dots of how these root beliefs have affected our life and influenced our personality. We've separated that. Wow, if our personality is fluid, we made this separation of, okay, this was my past self personality. This was my past self. Whole different person that we're talking about right now. And we're going to honor that person and we're going to let them rest. We're going to have a funeral for them and honor them with the utmost sacredness. So I'm going to go ahead and move over to my eulogy here. I have mine from when I did this process that I'm going to share with you today. But I invite you to grab your notebook and pen. Have your list of lies because we're going to use these to write our eulogy. So I invite you to write down, today we honor your past self name. So mine was Lily. Today we honor Lily. Go ahead and write that on your piece of paper. And now we're going to take that realization that we just had of connecting those dots, and we're going to look at the love and growth that came from these beliefs. And we're also going to look at inevitably what they brought us into our life. Like inevitably, they always kind of validated themselves at the end, right? But we're going to look at both the growth that came from them. They helped us move forwards, right? They brought us good things because our ego only wants the best for us. It's just working on a flawed system. but we're also going to acknowledge that flawed system. So I'm going to share my eulogy with you here, and I'm going to share some of the examples before you go ahead and write yours. Today, we honor Lily. In her 24 years, she had a full and vibrant life. She strove to keep herself safe, to create an environment where others felt safe to be themselves or didn't get triggered. But in doing so, she suppressed her beautiful innocence, hid her vulnerability, and dimmed her own light. So that was taking that root program belief that my innocence meant that I was naive or wrong in some way, or what was it? It was naive or weak. So I honored what having this root program belief strove me to do, right? It encouraged and influenced me to, let me find that spot. She strove this because of this root program belief. I strove to do this. I strove to keep myself safe and to create an environment where others felt safe to be themselves and didn't get triggered. So I triggered a lot of people with my innocence. So I strove to create environments where people felt safe. That's a beautiful thing, right? To try to create that environment. But that root program belief was already flawed. It was a lie. It wasn't true. So at the end of the day, this is what it brought me. This is what happened within my life, is that, but in doing so, and striving to do that with this already flawed root program foundation, I suppressed my beautiful innocence, which I now realize is one of my greatest superpowers. I hid my vulnerability, and I dimmed my own light. So I honored that having this root program belief strove me to do beautiful things, but because I was doing them from an already flawed foundation, this is what happened, was that I dimmed my light, I hid my vulnerability, and I suppressed my innocence. So that's what we're going to do here in our eulogy. We're going to honor what these root program beliefs strove us to achieve, explore, be, but then come back to realizing, but they were flawed. So this is what the outcome was. Okay. And we get to do that with so much love. We get to be like, oh, I see where my ego was trying to take me. I see where my mind was trying to take me. It was trying to bring me to this beautiful place, but its foundation was cracked. So it led me here instead. So that's what we're going to do in our eulogy. And when we do this, I invite you to just honor and acknowledge that all of this is happening so innocently, right? And we're now planting our foundations. We're now consciously re-choosing our foundations. So not only can our minds strive to bring us to our greatness, but we'll actually get there now because we have a strong foundation to work off of. And we get to honor that, wow, our past self was beautiful. Even with these beliefs as their root that were lies, like how beautiful has your life been so far? And we get to honor that here. We get to honor how powerful and beautiful and empowered our past self was, but we also get to honor that these beliefs didn't serve us. And we're gonna let them go today. So I'll go ahead and read my full eulogy to you, and then I invite you to pause this video and write your own, okay? So here's mine. Today we honor Lily. In her 24 years, she had a full and vibrant life. She strove to keep herself safe and to create an environment where others felt safe to be themselves or didn't get triggered. But in doing so, she suppressed her beautiful innocence, hid her vulnerability, and dimmed her own light. While all was done with loving intention, it created gaps in her friendships and intimacy. It led her to be close to only a few people and limit this service and good she can do in the world. Growing up, Lily became comfortable in financial instability. That was her stability. And she learned the valuable skills of frugality and to honor all that she had in her life. So that was, I had a root program belief that was limiting how I felt safe with my finances. So I learned how to be frugal. I learned how to be grateful for every little thing I had. But she fostered a bright of gratitude, creativity, and ingenuity. However, in this safety and gratitude, she found herself always on the edge of fear, stress, and anxiety of having her needs met and having her financial needs met. So even though having that root program belief of a limited money mindset taught me how to be creative and be grateful for everything I had, it also always kept me on this precipice of fear and stress and always worrying about having my needs met. In her strive to meet the needs of others and support all, she forgot to support herself. So I strove to support everybody, but in the process of that, I forgot to support myself. Lily's home was a place of value, safety, and expression. Within her walls, she created a fortress of safety for all who lived there, but this fortress's walls were sometimes too high, and she forgot that her home was not a reflection of the respect she deserved. She forgot that she was fully worthy of unconditional love and support in all her efforts. And I have a whole nother page, but saying that already took a lot longer reading that than I intended. I'm going to leave you with that to now pause this video and go write your eulogy for your past self, honoring these root programs and what they strove you to create, but then also fully realizing and acknowledging that because these lies are themselves a flawed foundation, they often brought a whole different reality into your life and your personality. So just honoring both, honoring the love and honoring the shadow, to integrate it together as we honor the sacredness of us and the beauty that has come from this past self, but also honor that we can now release these beliefs. They're not who we are. They're not who we are. Our personality is not who we are, and we are going to release these today. So, okay, pause this video and go write your eulogy. Okay, now that you're back, now that you have written that, now that we've fully honored and acknowledged and are ready to let go of this past version of ourselves, our old self, this is not who we are ready to let go of it. We're going to supercharge our energy here because now we're going to get into the burning ceremony. So I invite you to place your hands on your knees and we're going to bring in some Bhastrika breath. So this is where as you inhale, you're going to blow your belly up like a balloon. Quickly inhale. And as you exhale, forcefully exhaling, you're going to snap your belly back. And I'm going to move to the side so you can see me a little bit better. So as you inhale, you're going to blow your belly up. As you exhale, you're going to snap it back. And we're going to do that inhale and exhale. We're going to be fanning this fire within us, getting all of our courage and all of this energy activated so that we can fully release these beliefs. They're not who we are. They no longer need to contribute to our personality or our behavior or our life, so we can let them go. We are allowed to let these go and choose the beliefs that make us feel whole and empowered. So we're going to do this Bhastrika breath for about a minute. So letting your hands, we're going to ground ourselves, be grounded on your knees, and begin. Inhale, blow up your belly. Exhale, snap it back. Inhaling and exhaling from your nose. Going at your own pace, almost done. And take a nice deep breath in, filling your lungs with air. Hold the air in at the top. Feel it supercharging in your body, swirling all that energy in your body. Hold the air in. Hold it a little longer. And deep exhale. I invite you to sweep your arms up to the sky. Take up space. I know we've been moving through the heavier part of this process right now, so we're just going to take up some space here. Remember that golden dome of light that is around you that we created in the beginning, and just take up space. Allow yourself to move, to stretch out any energy that's stuck. Get it moving in your body. Whew. Get it all moving. Maybe we're going to rub our hands together, get them all supercharged. Get that energy supercharged in our body, because we're going to let this go. Our subconscious works in symbolism and emotion. So we are going to symbolically release these root program beliefs. They're not who we are. They no longer serve us. We can honor that we innocently took them on as children, and we can also honor that as adults, we get to now consciously let them go. So I will invite you to take your list of lies, get it ready, your list of lies and your eulogy. And we're going to look and acknowledge our list of lies one more time. Looking at them, noticing, oh, yeah, they're icky, right? They're icky. They don't make us feel good when we look at them. We wouldn't tell this to a 3-year-old child. They're associated right now with our past self that we are honoring in this funeral, and we're ready to let them go. Enough is enough. Allow yourself to say that out loud. Ready? Enough is enough. I am consciously choosing my truth. Okay. I'm so proud of you, by the way. I'm so proud of you. Inner work is not an easy thing to do, and it takes so much courage and accountability. And I'm so proud of you for looking at this list, for writing your eulogy, and now giving yourself full permission to let this go. So you can either do this burning ceremony outside. I did it outside when it was raining, and it was this beautiful, beautiful moment, or you can do it inside in your fireproof pot. So I invite you to grab your piece of paper with your lies. Mine is blank at the moment just because I already burned my lies, but I'm going to pretend this is my lies piece of paper. I invite you to look at it. Take a deep breath, make that separation. This is not who I am. I want you to say that out loud. These are not who I am, but I honor what these have taught me in my life. And I invite you to say out loud, enough is enough. I am ready to let you go. I invite you to fold up your lies, to place them in your pot or outside, and I invite you to light them on fire. Now, unfortunately, when I light mine on fire on the inside, it causes a lot of smoke. So I'm going to pretend to light mine on fire. You actually light yours on fire. Light your beliefs on fire and watch them slowly come to ash. And as you do this, I invite you to read your eulogy. So pausing this video if you need, I invite you to go outside or do this inside to burn your lies, and as you're doing so, to read your eulogy out loud to yourself. Okay, and when you're done, you can come back to this video. Keep your water, don't pour it out quite yet, and come back to this video. I want to honor you for letting go of these lies. I invite you to look at your container of ashes, and I invite you to honor that you have fully released them. Just take a moment with your hands on your heart, breathing in as we honor this past version of ourselves, and let them go, knowing that we are stepping deeper into our truth and our wholeness, and letting go of what no longer serves us while honoring it with all of the love and compassion we have. I invite you to honor that you are always just doing your best. And we're not letting go of this past version of ourselves because there is anything wrong with them. We're letting go of them because we loved them so much that we're letting them go so that we can remember our truth today. And we're doing that with love and compassion, but also separation, realizing that those root programs we just let go were not us and never have been. And we are just doing our best to live life with these root programs that we innocently took on, which is what we do as humans. And now we get to move forwards and proclaim what our truth is so that we can live our life empowered in our truth. Whoa. Taking a moment to honor those ashes. I invite you to take your object now that you chose, that object that was symbolic of your past self. And I invite you to take a moment and look at it and ask yourself, why did I choose this object? What does it represent for me in this past, in my old self? For me, this represented Lily's life. She lived her life in ballet shoes and toe shoes, in movement. I honor that. And we're going to place this object in front of our container of ashes. We're going to place an object in front of it. And we're going to offer it as a symbol of release. I let you go. I honor this past version of myself that has passed. I honor you and I let you go. Now this object, you could burn this if it's burnable. Maybe you do that outside, or maybe you throw it away, or maybe you do something just to symbolically release it. But honoring this as a gift or as an offering to our funeral pyre here, in honor of, for me, Lily, that I'm letting go and who has moved on and who has passed away. Okay, taking some nice, smooth, deep breaths. I invite you to place your hands on your heart. Allow yourself to feel anything that's coming up. At this stage, when I was doing this process for myself, I was bawling. So it's okay if tears are arising. It's okay if they're not. It's okay to feel all the emotions that are coming with this process. Allow yourself to feel them, even if it's uncomfortable. The discomfort that we feel in the resistance of letting go of our past self, that is, resistance always comes from our ego, right? Of these past beliefs, and we're choosing to let them go so we can witness that resistance with compassion, but realize that's what we're choosing to let go of too. Whew. Okay, I invite you now to place your list of truths out in front of you and to take your water. And we're going to pour this water over your ashes. So water is a very cleansing element. Water symbolically is a cleanse. So as we have fully now let go of our past self, maybe you stretch your arms again and take up some space. Feel that weight fully lifted off of you as you released this. I'm so proud of you. Feel that all of that weight released off of you. And you're going to take your water and you're going to cleanse these ashes, the ashes of your past self. We're going to cleanse them with water, pouring them in as we welcome and proclaim our new. So just as we gave ourselves a funeral for our past self, we're now going to give ourselves our prophecy or proclamation of our new self. So I invite you to hold your truths out in front of you, to cleanse these ashes with water, to honor them, to let them go. And I invite you to hold your lists of truths. And we're going to proclaim, just like we gave ourselves a eulogy for our past self, we're now going to proclaim in future tense our new self that we are stepping into as we step into our greatness. So I invite you to write or to say, I'm just going to say mine. And when I did this personally in my own process, I just said it out loud. Whew. I invite you to take these truths, look them over for a moment, and allow yourself to smile. Look how beautiful you are. I'm going to start crying during this. Look how beautiful and amazing you are, and how you're consciously now choosing these beliefs to be the root of your tree. These beliefs to be the foundation of your personality and of the person you are. These beliefs have always been true. Now we're just remembering them and welcoming them as our conscious foundation for our actions and beliefs. If you are deciding to call upon a new name at this time, this is when you'll welcome that in. If you have also done the life mission statement in the past, that with me or through one of my meditations or one of my classes, you can also welcome your life mission into this proclamation as well. So now we're going to see this as the new arrival. We have arrived, the new arrival of who we are and who we are stepping into every day consciously. So I invite you to proclaim, today we welcome a great soul. I'm going to do mine. Lilia was born into the world today. And I invite you to proclaim this for yourself. Today we welcome a great soul. Your name, or your new name if you're choosing one, is born into the world today. And I invite you to read off your truths as proclamations, future prophecies and proclamations, and present proclamations of your you, this new arrival that we're welcoming in your personality. So I'm gonna read mine to give you an example. So today we welcome a great soul. Lilia has been born into the world. Lilia fully realizes that she is never rejected by love and truth, and that it is safe to be close to those that she feels connected to. She honors that everyone is on their unique inner work journey, and that her wholeness and worth is never a reflection of someone else's inner work. She honors that she's always whole and complete in every moment. Lilia shines her light and knows that by shining her light, she's allowing those who need her gifts and her services and her light permission to then shine their light unapologetically into the world too. Lilia fully understands and honors and embodies that making mistakes is a part of being human and does not reflect the respect that she deserves. She gracefully takes accountability over her mistakes, shows others that they can make their own mistakes too, and honors her wholeness in everything that she does, knowing that she's always doing her best in every moment. Lilia honors that her sexuality is divine and worthy of reverence, respect, and honor in how she navigates it and how she navigates it with the world around her. Lilia's vulnerability is a superpower and deserving of respect. And that being vulnerable in friendships, she realized, gives space for others to feel and heal too. Lilia opens her home to many people, knowing that she is always learning the skill of housekeeping, but that her home will always be a safe space for those to know that they can grow in their skill sets too. Lilia honors that she is enough, and in her innocence and purity and divineness is enough and always will be enough and always has been enough. She honors that her innocence is a superpower and one that she can grow and lean into every day. Lilia honors that her innocence is rooted in wisdom as she learns to let go of old beliefs and traumas every day, and honors that in coming back to her innocence, she's always coming back to her truth. So I invite you to proclaim your new self, to proclaim all of your truths in future tense as you proclaim this new arrival of you. Say all of these truths out loud, form them into a proclamation that is you and that you are stepping into every day. As you do this, you can pause this video to do so. Now, as you come back to this video, this is also a place where you can proclaim your life mission. So placing your hands on your heart, I invite you to acknowledge that this proclamation you just made is you. Take a moment to say out loud, this is me. And honor how beautiful that is, how powerful you are. You are taking your power back. We just let go of these beliefs, and we are now taking our power back and consciously choosing our roots and our root programs. That's really amazing. I'm so proud of you. In this moment, you can proclaim your life statement too, if you've already done that. If not, that's okay. My life statement is that I create a world with no pressure, where every person feels safe to be themselves, to remember their wholeness. I do this by loving everyone I meet, by holding space as a healer to help others remember their wholeness, by doing my own inner work, being a reflection of divine love. I create a world where everyone feels loved in all of their beauty, wholeness, and individuality. So proclaiming your life mission statement here, if that's an alignment for you in this process today. We have the ability to choose our beliefs. We have the ability to choose our perceptions on life. We have the ability to choose who we will be in every moment. We have the ability to choose our personality. Wow, how amazing is that? We have the ability to choose our thought processes. We have the ability to choose who we are and how we navigate and see life. Which means if we have the ability to do all of that, we have the ability to choose our destiny. You have the ability to choose your destiny. I invite you to take that in for a moment, because doing this process, showing up for this process in yourself, means you are doing all of that. You are so beautifully empowered and autonomous. And the reason that having this freedom of choice is so powerful as we choose our beliefs, our destiny, our perceptions of life, our reality, because our reality is just a reflection of how we perceive life. It's not actually what's happening in life. It's how we see and perceive what is happening that creates our reality. And the power is that love in itself, love is freedom and choice. Love is so powerful that it allows us to choose. You have that choice. And by showing up for yourself, you are making that choice. And that is so amazing, right? You're just, by showing up for yourself in this process, you did the work. And I'm so proud of you. I invite you to keep your hands on your heart, and we're going to say some affirmations here as we close out this practice and this process. I invite you to acknowledge that by living as your truest and greatest self here in the truths that you have chosen to proclaim as you, that by living in that, you will only ever, that living in our greatest potential, living in our truth will only ever bring love into the world. It will only ever support others in whatever their journey needs. It will only ever bring greatness into this world. By living in your truth, that is your gift that you have to offer to this world, is by living in your authentic, unapologetic truth and greatness. And it will only ever bring love. You get to acknowledge that. Wow. I invite you now, I'm going to stretch out my legs because my hips. I invite you now, with your hands on your heart, to close your eyes, and we're going to proclaim these affirmations together. You ready? I embrace my greatness now. Breathe that in. Notice how it feels. Allow your heart to expand as you inhale under your hands. I embrace my truth now. I embrace who I am really here to be now. Take a nice deep breath in through your belly, filling your ribs and your lungs with so much air and beautiful oxygen. And take a nice big cleansing breath out here. Allow your body to relax as you take those affirmations in. And coming back with your hands on your heart, we're going to say a few more. I am free. Having choice in itself is freedom, and I have that choice. You are never tied to a belief if you don't want it. You always have a choice over your beliefs and your reality. Okay, ready? I am loved. I am allowed to be happy. I am allowed to be great. I am allowed to be who I came here to be. I am allowed to be my true self unapologetically. I am allowed to embrace my truth. I am loved. I am love. I am pure. I am innocent. I am divine. I am whole and always have been whole. I am complete and always have been complete. I am free. I am loved. When you're ready, you can take your hands off your chest and bring them back down to your knees. Take some nice juicy inhales with some smiles, honoring all the beautiful inner work you've done today. Knowing that you have always been whole and complete through everything. And what we did today is we gave you sacred space to choose your beliefs so that you can choose your reality and remember your wholeness. I am so incredibly proud of you. And I honor you and every version of you because every version has been gorgeous and beautiful. I honor this new proclamation that you are bringing into your life as you. Wow, it is so amazing to meet you. And I honor your old self as you let them go with love and compassion, knowing they were just doing their best with what they had. And I honor you as you now choose your foundations to step into this world boldly in your truth and your essence. This is a beautiful time, if it feels right for you, either to stay in meditation in this space, repeating the mantras, I am free and I am loved. Or maybe you get up and do a dance party and turn on your favorite music and celebrate. Or maybe you take a moment to feel all the emotions and to just let them cry out or move through you. Whatever you need in this moment is beautiful. Allow yourself to feel it all, because it's in our feeling that we experience the richness of this life as a human. I love you so much. I'm always here for you. If you want to talk about your experience, please message me either on Instagram or at my email, liliagestin@gmail.com. I'm always here for you, and I would love to support you through whatever is coming up with this process, but I'm going to leave you here today. I love you with all my heart. Thank you for being here and doing this inner work with me. When we do our inner work, when we remember our wholeness, we influence the energy of everybody and everything around us. That is one of the most beautiful gifts we could ever offer this world, is to remember our wholeness, because it leads the way for others to remember theirs. and being and living in your truth and your greatness will always bring love into this world. I love you, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.